The best thing about Duff as a coach is that he's really given me a desire to want to be better and play harder, kind of as a person as well as a footballer. Yeah.
The players have a very strong respect for that commitment he brings, and he brings the best out of them.
I definitely think he makes us a better place to be.
He certainly has a way to gel the players.
So yeah, no, he's had a profound effect on my view of people with disability, basically. Yeah.
33-year-old Duff, as he's more affectionately known, he isn't your average footy coach. But then again, who wants to be average?
My name's Joe Duffield. I'm a quadriplegic. I ended up in a wheelchair about 13 years ago from diving into a swimming pool. I have been coaching football for about the last 10 years, about 5 years back home at my local club at Port Mundura, and now 5 years here at Adelaide Lutheran, where I'm the current B grade coach and looking for our third flag in a row.
Catching up with Duff just a couple of days before he started his third consecutive final series, chasing a rare three-peat, I was curious to know just how he ended up in this position.
Probably about 2 years after I had my accident, someone suggested that I get into coaching football, and I was sort of like, who's gonna, what senior players, 25, 30-year-olds are gonna listen to a 19, 20-year-old kid, you know what I mean? That I'd played 50 senior games by that stage, but really, you expect a coach, in their late 30s, 40s, sort of was a typical coach back then. It's probably changed a bit over the last 10 years or so, but I got into it. Just started with the B grade back home at Port Broughton, and had a bit of success there. Won a flag in my first year, and it was quite amazing. I was coaching blokes my own age and a few of my mates, but I was also coaching blokes that were 35, 40, and for them guys to sort of come up and say to me that I'm learning stuff off you, you're teaching me how to new things at my age, was really good for me. It was something I could still physically able to do. You don't really need to be able to walk or anything to coach footy.
Coaching hasn't only provided Duff with a sense of meaning and purpose, but he says the social connections are an ongoing source of happiness.
I think probably one of the big things was I've never been, since my accident, I've never been sort of the person that's, I don't want to go out. I've always sort of wanted to get back out in the community and with my mates and stuff like that, but at times it is hard, but when I was coaching football, I sort of, I'd committed to doing it, so I had to get out to training twice a week and that sort of stuff, and it also got me back in the community, the local community, but then, you're dealing with other teams, other coaches, and just sort of gave you the confidence that, you can get back out in the community, whether you're in a wheelchair or whatever, and I think, sports are, a really good thing for that, I think most people just see me as another football coach that happens to be in a wheelchair, so that, I think that was really good for me, particularly early on as I was getting used to just being out and about and in a wheelchair. And it just made me feel comfortable in it, which now I'm 13 years on. I've coached ever since. I think this is my 11th year as coach now, and did about 7 years back home, and I've been at Adelaide Lutherans now for I think this is my third year as B grade coach, and I did 2 years as sort of the A grade assistant. We had a playing coach for the first 2 years.
Well, the way we came across Duff was, it was just a bloke who rang me up and said, this guy's been coaching in Port Broughton. He's moving to Adelaide. Do you want to have a chat to him? And by the way, he's in a wheelchair, and we said, yeah, no worries. And I think that's got to be the attitude of any club, that yes, he's got a disability, but until you get him in and you talk to the guy or girl, if it's someone that wants to coach, you're looking at what can the person bring, not can they walk.
What Duff can and has brought is a powerful perspective that few others could.
for me when it comes to football and where I try to get across to the players and stuff like that is probably what you never know when your last game's going to be. I didn't think my last game was going to be as an 18-year-old. So you've only got probably 10 to 15 years of football. So I try to make the most of every game you get to play, so every season, and not to waste a season because in the middle of winter it's easy to slack off and go sit at home and on the couch rather than come out training. But if you come out training and you get the success, you look back on those days as some of the best days in your life. So that's what I try to get across to the players mainly.
Duff's ability to live and breathe this message of making the most of every day and everything he is something that continues to move his players without fail.
Duff brings the emotion, the want to get around the boys, the want to get the boys up to another level. He's really good at talking. Really, he inspires people through his voice and his action. Although he's in the chair, doesn't make a difference. He's as big as any of us. He would put his chair a bit higher just to be a bit higher than you, but that's all right. So no, it's just and around the place, everyone gets around him. He's just a normal bloke. The chair's nothing in our eyes. It's just a mobile machine that gets him around. So yeah, no, he's just inspires blokes really. You get up, you do that bit extra, and you make sure that you get him the win at the end of the day. Just gives you that bit more to get going, and all the boys love it.
For the big games, yeah, you really want to get out there and do it for him because he really wants to be out there and do it himself, and he can't. So you really want to win and get the job done for him, really, yeah.
So the beauty of Duff with the situations he's in, there's nothing that's too hard for him. So when the game's on the line or when it just seems like we're a bit down, there's nothing too hard because he's been through a bit.
His injury and his resilience, it hasn't only made Duff a better coach, it's also made those around him better too.
Before Duff, I never had anyone that I knew with any sort of disability really. I rolled up here and a bloke come rolling up in a chair. I've gone, okay, what's going on here? And then introduced himself and off we went basically. So just the awareness that he brought to just everything in life basically. And it just, when you know someone with a disability, it opens it up. It opens up your eyes and you see what it is and you take everyone differently then, basically.
Before me and Duff, I probably thought that you probably couldn't learn a lot from people with a disability, but being mates with Duff and having him as my coach has shown me that he's got so much to give and so much to learn from, really, yeah.
I absolutely think he makes it a better place. I think when you're always dealing with people in the minorities, I think it opens your eyes to that, to what they go through and how to best deal with them. So yeah, I absolutely think it makes us a better football club. It makes us a better rounded sort of community to be in and be involved in.
Clubs need to be welcoming for everyone because they're a great community for people to get back on their feet, for people to have some sort of acceptance, for people to rebuild their lives. And I think that I would encourage any club, any sports club or any community club for that matter to try and be proactive in welcoming people like that into their environment because they can make a huge contribution in so many ways. So, and Duff's certainly done that for us.
Yeah, my message to other clubs would simply be get him involved. There's no difference just because of a disability, absolutely not. So yeah, absolutely I'd be busting ass to try and get someone involved with a disability for sure here.
While Duff's presence clearly goes beyond that of your average coach, as a humble footy purist, he says he has just one wish, and that's to be judged on how his team performs. Catching up with Duff on grand final day as he and his team eyed off their third flag in a row, well, we'll let Duff tell you the rest.
Bust your ass for one another. Bust your ass for one another. Bust your ass for Rising Scout over there, boys. And bust your ass for the club as a whole. It's not every day you get a chance to play in a grand final, and it's not every chance you get a day of great history. Okay? We got the chance to win 3 in a row. Some people have been here for all 3, some people have been here for 2, and some people said first one. But let's let's go out there and enjoy the day, boys. Enjoy working hard for the teammates. Enjoy getting around with each other. We do something good. Let's go out there and win another flag.
Go on! Go Doggies!
Through the ash, through
Don't jump, don't jump, don't jump, don't jump. Go, Brent. So really good start. So let's have that. Let's not get lazy on that. A couple of times there, This is to my boys, another awesome effort to win 3 in a row is just amazing. Really proud of everyone. Flags don't happen for the guys that just run out here. It's a whole club effort. Really proud of everyone. Let's enjoy it, boys.